this emotional clearing session, is this something to come and someone else is going to fix the feelings for you, or what is it?
Isn't this what you do in your therapy, Anna?
No.
Help people get into their feelings?
Yes.
Yeah.
To feel them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're referring to as problematic.
Yeah.
Oh, can you say something more about that? Why is that problematic?
We think about what you're doing. You've got to think about the principles that you've already been taught and then what you choose to do with them because you think it's going to make your life or somebody else's life easier. Firstly, by setting yourself up as the person who's trying to help another person feel their feelings, you're basically saying you're more emotionally open than they are. Is that an actual truth? Because I've said to you quite clearly, you're not emotionally open. So they're actually presuming it's the truth, because otherwise they wouldn't be coming to you for help. They're presuming it's the truth, you presume it's the truth, but I've said to you quite clearly it's not, right? It's not a truth. How can you help somebody emotionally if you're not open emotionally yourself? Can you see it's a hypocritical act, but also it's also not logical to think that you can help somebody when you're closed, right? So the need to help somebody is driven by a different emotion on your part. Secondly, the person who's coming to you, what do they want from you? They want to feel like they're going to be helped feeling their emotions. Does God help you feel your emotions? No. No. He says, you feel your emotions, they're yours. God doesn't participate in the feeling of your emotion. He agrees with you feeling your emotion. He doesn't participate in it. The only emotions he participates in is the emotions you feel for him. Right? And his feelings for you, they're the ones he participates in. None of which are injured, and none of which could be classified as emotional clearing. Right? So God does not do it. So why does Anna do it? So Anna believes that people need it, but God doesn't believe people need it.
True.
So why does Anna feel people need it? So really Anna's saying God doesn't know what he's doing. You understand? And this is the general attitude of the people who are doing these things. They really feel that God doesn't know what he's doing, and that they do. Now, there's a difference between how do you actually help somebody feel their emotions?
What is true
You
assistance?
can't feel their emotions with them because they have to do that. Every time they try to engage you feeling their emotions, they are now saying they're incapable of feeling them themselves. By saying that, they're telling themselves a lie. By telling themselves a lie, they're in complete disharmony with truth. How do you get beyond that point? How have I got you, any time you felt an emotion, beyond that point? If you run.
I'm just thinking that you tell us the truth about that.
I tell you the exact truth.
Yeah.
Right? That's number one, the exact truth. To tell you the exact truth, I have to know it.
Yeah.
Don't I? Then I have to be able to tell you it, right? Firstly, that's first. What else? So, Janet.
That you're capable of dealing with it.
I tell you that, no, I don't need to share in your emotions. Your emotions are your emotions. You need to have them, and you are capable. Right? What does the prayer say? You are the pinnacle of God's creation. You are capable people. God created you to be capable. God doesn't want you to feel incapable. He created you to be capable, which includes capable to feel your own emotion. If I help you feel your emotion, what am I doing? I am saying to you, you're incapable.
And actually creates a sense of dependency.
Yes.
Correct. I'm also saying I'm
Better than you.
better than you as well. Right? How am I saying I'm better than you? I'm saying I'm capable of something that you're not capable of. Which is it, and it's actually not true. We are both equally capable of feeling our emotions. You're just as capable as I am. I can feel mine. By the way, I can't feel yours. Only you can feel yours. So when I'm saying I can help you feel yours, I'm lying to you. I cannot help you feel yours. You have to help yourself feel yours. I can't help you feel yours. Right? There's nothing I can do that will help you feel your emotion. And if you believe that is true, you won't feel all of your emotion. Because your emotion is yours. And only you can feel it to completion. Right? I can't do anything to help you aside from telling you the truth and being loving in my interaction with you. They're the only ways I can help you. So if I'm a helper, the only way I can help you is by knowing that I'm equal to you, knowing that you're just as capable as I am to feel your feelings, knowing that you can feel every feeling no matter how bad it is by yourself. You do not need me or anybody else to help you feel. You don't even need God to help you feel. God created you as a completely independent, emotionally independent being to him. You do not need God to help you feel. You are the person who determines whose feelings you have. You are the person who controls your feelings. Now, if I am telling you anything different to that through either my words or my actions, am I in harmony with truth? No, I'm not. So I can do all this in the guise of helping someone with divine truth, and I'm not. So what would be my motive? If I now know that to be the truth, what can only be my motive for helping you feel your emotions?
Feed your own addictions.
To feed my own addictions. And to...
Get power.
No, feed yours.
I feed my addictions.
You understand?
Yeah.
Not just to feed my own, because obviously you're coming to me, you're feeding yours.
Yeah.
So what are your addictions? What are the reasons why you're coming to me? I'm setting myself up as a person who's going to help you feel your emotions. You're coming to me. What am I teaching you? Why did you come to me in the first place?
I don't feel like I can.
That's right. You direct disharmony with the prayer. You don't think you can.
Yeah.
Right? So that's in direct disharmony with what I'm teaching. Right? The fact that you don't think you can, well, that's something we're going to talk about. Right?
You need more truth.
You need more truth about that, because that's like me helping you is just going to enforce the lie that you can't, that you need some help to do it. You understand? Why else might you need some help to do it? Because you've been taught from childhood, mum and dad, that a person who loves me helps me not feel things that I have to feel for myself. We're taught that right from childhood. We're taught, so obviously I believe I'm loving to you by helping you, and you believe coming to me means you're being loved. Completely wrong. You're not being loved. You're in an emotional addiction with a person. You are not being loved. You are being abused. You're not being loved. You're being abused. But you believe you're being loved. Right? That's a problem. Let's talk about that. You understand? But again, talking about that, I've got to highlight the truth of that. Every time you put yourself in a position where you think that I'm loving you when I'm not, that's not going to help you feel your emotions. That's in fact going to get you away from feeling your emotions. You understand?
And it doesn't help with that assessment we talked about earlier. That's really important to my safety.
That's right.
If I'm presenting myself to Jad as, here, I love you, I'll help you deal with your emotions.
You are now unsafe, Jad.
And you can't assess the love. If you think, oh,
Yeah.
that's love, then you're always looking for that as love, and you're not actually accurately assessing the love in other situations as well.
Now, a teacher who knows the truth knows they can't help you. I can't help you. I've already told you that. I can't help you. All I can do is tell you the truth. Right? Your sins are your problem, not mine. Right? Whether you accept God's love or not is up to you, not me. I have no control over it except by saying the truth about it. That's the only way I can help you. The only way I can help you deal with anything is by saying the truth about the thing. You follow? There's no other way I can really help you. So spending time with you, nursing you through your feelings, it's not going to help you. It's going to make you a dependent of mine. Right? Now, I know on earth a lot of people want to become somebody else's dependent. But do you think God would think that I'm doing the right thing if I made you mine? Of course not. So I can't do that. Now, because I don't do it, what does a lot of other people do? They set themselves up to do it. They hear divine truth and then they set themselves up to do it. But really what they're doing, they don't understand it, but they're acting in direct disharmony with divine truth practically in their own lives, because they're acting in an addiction, which is in direct opposition to what I'm teaching. So you're actually breaking the law more, right? You're thinking you're doing a good thing, but actually breaking the law more. Not only that, you're doing it to somebody else. So now you're teaching. You set yourself up as a teacher. You're teaching the person to do something that is making them weaker. Not stronger, weaker. How can it have any good benefit? There is no benefit. The reason why I don't do it is because there is no benefits. That's why I don't do it with you. You know, when you guys are all chatting about your feelings, do you very often see me get involved in terms of sharing with your feelings or anything? Do you ever hear me sharing my feelings very often? When I do share my feelings, am I trying to get your help to feel my feelings? No, I'm just explaining a situation, aren't I?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm doing, right? It's an opportunity for you to get to know me, all my feelings, but I don't do it so you can share in them, right? Because I know the truth is you don't have my feelings. The truth is one day you and I can be closer because we can feel each other's feelings if we choose to, but I can't feel your feelings for you. I can't make your feelings go away. I can't nurse you through your feelings, because if I do, I'm teaching you to be a dependent. I've got to teach you how to be a self-responsible adult, because that's what God's trying to teach me. You understand? Can you see that, Anna? Now, can you see when you set yourself up to do these particular things, you're not understanding God's truth. And yet you're saying you're doing it for the purpose of helping the person with God's truth. So you're not, that's not true. It's an illusion, but it's not, and it's certainly not true, right? And there's many people who do this with groups of people and things like that, all out of harmony with love. That's why I don't do it. You know, a lot of people think, I just hasn't got enough time to do it. Well, that's true too. Right? I haven't got enough time to emotionally, nurse millions of people on the planet. Do you? No. So why are you doing it with one? Like, my feeling is, if you can't do it with millions, you shouldn't be doing it with one. You understand? There is a principle of economy there that God engages. If God can't do it with 1 million people, he won't do it with one person. And it makes logical sense as to why. Right? If he can do it with one person but not 1 million, then he's being unequal with one. So it's pretty obvious why he can't do it. Right? If I do it with one, I can't do it with 1 million, then I'm being unequal with one. One thing I can do with 1 million people is tell them the truth. Right? I can tell them how to receive God's love. I can do that with 1 million people. 1 billion people nowadays, they don't even have to be face to face anymore, right? You can do it with billions of people. But you can't do the other with billions, so why are you doing it with one? So there's many, many good reasons as to why it's not proper, why it's not in harmony with God's love to do these things. But in our own wisdom, and this is how everybody is, with their own wisdom, which is really their own arrogance, isn't it? Their own definition of love kicking in, which is really saying, my definition of love is above God's. I'm going to do something that God doesn't do. Right? So you're really saying that your definition of love is above God's. So a lot of people don't realise there's this internal stuff going on that's demonstrating a condition of the soul, which is way out of harmony with the truth being taught. And we're making these choices and decisions go, I'm going to help these people and I'm going to do this because that's what I think I needed. And I'm saying to Anna, no, you didn't need it either. You don't need somebody doing that with you either. God's already giving you what you need. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
And dealing with your emotions, once you come to terms with the fact that you don't need anybody else, that's ironically the first time you start doing it for yourself. Yep. And it's also, ironically, the first time that you start clearing things properly. Because the emotions get a lot more raw when you realise there's no one helping you. You got them for yourself. And then you go, whoa, you know, like now you feel the weight of your own emotional burden, and you also feel the weight of your own sin. You haven't got anybody to share it with, which is appropriate. You shouldn't have anybody to share it with. It's yours. Your emotions are yours. Your will is yours. Your sin is yours. Nobody else should have anything to do with it. You need to do it. Yep. Yeah. And this is what, you know, a lot of the people who who email us say, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. They're expecting me to say it's wonderful. And I'm going, what are you doing? You're destroying the principles of God's truth without even hardly knowing that you are by taking these actions. And most people are not aware they are. So the way to help a person is to be truthful, to love them and be truthful. What does loving them look like? It's not meeting their addictions. It's not telling them that they need you. It's not telling them that they need anybody else other than themselves and God, actually. That's all they ever need. And of course, at some point, their soulmate, if they engage themselves. They're the only things they need. And if you tell them anything different, and really what you're doing is you're undermining God's truth on earth, which is what you're doing, Anna. You understand?
No.
No? You don't think you are, from what I just said?
Well,
Just use your microphone.
oh, thanks. Well, to begin with, I don't work with clients anymore for a couple of years back, but
Yep.
Except for one. But I'm doing just that. I believe, I could be wrong, but telling her.
Why is she dependent on you?
She's not.
Well, she is. Do I come to you for help from me?
No.
When you come to help from me, do I actually give you any help?
No.
What? What help do I give you?
Truth.
Right? Isn't that giving you help?
Yes.
But do I give you anything other than that? No. No. So do I listen to your stories?
No.
No, not really, do I?
No.
No. Your stories are your stories. You need to feel them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I might be interested in your life, and I might ask you questions then to get to know you. But that's developing a friendship. That's not the same as me helping you. You understand? So with all of you, Mary and I have asked you questions about your life. What happened here? What happened there? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? What went on there? You know, we're interested in you, so we're trying to find out things about your life. But I don't do that for the purpose of trying to trigger you emotionally. I don't do that for the purpose of trying to make you see some things that you don't see. I do that for the purpose of getting to know you. You understand?
Yes, I do now.
Doing it for any other purpose? They're dependent.
Say that again. If you're
Doing it for any other purpose creates dependency.
Yeah.
So you think about why you set up your group in Sweden.
The Divine True Study Group.
Yep. If you're honest with yourself, you'll see that you quite like having dependence.
What does that mean? I quite like having dependence.
You like people depending on you.
Ah, yeah. True.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's an addiction. Yep. And you've got to be careful that your motivations to help people isn't based upon wanting a dependent. Yep. Now, in some other cases, like other people we know, they want power. This is even worse than wanting a dependent, right? But even a dependent, you've got to consider, why do I like having a dependent? does it make you feel good about yourself for having a dependent, or are you just helping people? Like, what I'm trying to do with you guys is just share truth with you. I like doing it, but it's not like, if, as you well know, if you leave tomorrow, I don't chase you down and follow you up. You know what I mean? I don't keep track of you. And keep in contact. And
We hardly know anything about your guys' lives apart from, you know,
what you share with us.
what you tell us.
Isn't that sort of appropriate in a way?
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to share things with us, we don't know them. Right? It's only what we feel from you and what you share with us. That's all we know. Yeah. Quite often that's a significant amount.
Yes.
Because we can feel a lot, right? But it's not done for the purpose of like creating dependency or followers or any of those things, right?
A lot of people get a sense of worth out of having a dependent, being a parent.
Yeah, that's why most people become parents.
Having a, you know, clients that you help.
I actually think that I did that because I felt loved
By them.
by them. Yes.
Well, felt wanted by them, yes, or needed by them, which is not the same as feeling love, really.
Exactly, but I sort of did that mix, I think.
Yeah, partially, but there's other reasons too. Because to do it, you've got to have some level of arrogance. You've got to have some level of believing that you know better than they do. And that's also an issue that you face. So you also got to believe you know better than God does. So that's also an issue you face.
Isn't it funny, like, because you and I don't, because we view everyone as equal, people often then view us as lesser than them. Yeah. Because they're used to, because we don't encourage dependency, we don't view ourselves, we just, as you know, like all of you, we just behave like you're just our equal. And then a lot of people then treat us like that they know better than us, because we're not in some kind of power game with them or superiority game.
They expect Jesus to be in a power game with them.
Yeah. Or to be superior, or to come with airs and graces and like tell you how it is and make you feel like you're dependent, that you need something from us, that you're not just a sister or a brother. Yeah. So often you seek out these roles because you do have some of that injury where you feel like, no, I want that feeling from others, that I'm somehow the expert or needed, and that's what I build my identity and my worth and my sense of being loved, which is very injured. Yes. And lovable.
Doing things for others is all about just giving a gift, isn't it? At the end of the day. And you know, anything else that meets an addiction is not a gift. Still not convinced, Anna? Interesting how my comments to you frequently go ignored because you feel I'm not right. And I find that really fascinating that you and both Ulf and you actually have the feeling that when you disagree with me, then it must mean that I'm wrong. Rather than saying that maybe I'm seeing a lot more than you are about a situation, you automatically believe that you see more than I do. Yes. And I find that very interesting. And this is something that a lot of people do with me, where they think, you know, how many times, like with Andrew Robb, I had a conversation with them about their family. At the time, they thought I was wrong. You know, most of you at some stage have thought what I'm saying to you is wrong. And I find that interesting. Why are you listening to a person who's teaching you something while you're at the same time thinking he's wrong most of the time? It doesn't make any sense to me why you do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't come along regularly to see a person who I think when they make personal comments about my life that they're actually wrong. I would be looking at my personal life and going, maybe he's seeing more than I do. That's what I would be doing, which is why I'm progressing and many of you don't, right? Because that's what God does with me. Shares things with me, tells me things that are wrong. I have to look at them, and I do, right? And that's what really progress is all about. Getting to see the things you can't see, and somebody else, that's how you help a person, right? Actually helping them see the truth of things they can't see.
you reach a point in your progression where you just feel so grateful for that, like because you realise, wow, I would have gone on thinking that I knew everything about this situation, that my
For
version
years.
was correct
Yeah.
for the
Centuries.
possibly the rest of my life on earth,
Yeah.
unless this one person was kind enough to say, hey, there's this big gaping thing here that you keep avoiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also indicative of the fact that you want an emotional interaction with a person. You want it to be some kind of emotional attachment. And I find that interesting because frequently that's the time when there's no emotional attachment. Because there's an addiction to an emotional attachment, not an actual emotional attachment. An actual emotional attachment is my heart is filled with love for the person. There's my emotion. That's an emotional attachment. Any other thing where my heart is filled with an addiction for a person, not an emotional attachment anymore. You understand? The trouble is our parents have taught us that is an attachment.
Yeah.
Right? And so we believe that's what an attachment looks like. But it's not. Attachment is my heart is filled with love for whomever. Not that they love me. Not that they need anything from me. Not that they want anything from me. None of that. My heart is feeling for them. That's a proper attachment. And it doesn't need anything in return. Yeah. So, again, these are things that our parents have taught us, right? That we then say, well, this is what love is. This is what love would do. And it doesn't. So there's many, many people around the world listening to Divine Truth and then going, Dharma, that James Benzing guy, Denny, and a number of others that we know, like...
Do you want to name names?
Well, I'm happy to, because they're all... This information applies to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robin,
Grisham, who else?
can't think of anyone.
Well, anyone who's setting themselves up in this regard...
Enrique.
Sorry?
Enrique.
Yeah. Well, anyone who is setting themselves up in this regard does not understand divine truth. Does not. And the reason why they don't is they don't understand how they are themselves breaking the law, God's law, and how they're even breaking the law of love, which says, you are the pinnacle of God's creation. I believe and feel you are. You are capable of feeling your own emotions. You are capable of going through things with your own relationship with God. You are capable. The only way I can help you is by being truthful with you. And the only way I can know what the truth is by being more connected to God than you are. That's the only way I can know. Otherwise, we both know the same. And if I'm less connected to God than you are, then I know less. Right? So any person who sets them up in that regard, I would suggest, is often less connected to God than you are. And so you're going to a person who is less connected to God. They're connected to other things, spirits in particular, but they're less connected to God than you are, and yet you're asking them for advice. That is very unwise, and it's also and you're doing it because you want safety. You want the security of somebody telling you what to do every day or every week or every month. You want the security of somebody reassuring you you're on the right track, and you want the security of all that. But all you're doing is acting because your parents taught you that they will make you feel safe even when you're not. So it's actually driven by this underlying feeling that of needing the illusion of safety rather than actual safety. Yeah. God's already given you enough to deal with things. And all you need is a person who wants to share truth with you. God already wants to do it, but if you can't hear God, it's handy to have someone else. And all you need is a person who's willing to share the actual unadulterated truth with you. And that's as far as it goes. They don't need to share in your emotional experience with you. They don't need to help you, handhold you through the emotional experience. It can be helpful if they help trigger some of your emotions, right, through some things that they say or do. But like, when do I physically touch you to help you get through an emotion? How many of you have been personally, physically touched by me in order to help you get through an emotion. Right? So why are you letting a lot of other people do that to you? Right? Now, I'm not saying don't go and get a massage. Go and get a massage if you want, but call it a massage. Di, you wanted to say?
So I've had this feeling.
Yep.
I wanted to help people.
Yep. Which is.
And went and did a counselling course and everything.
Yep.
Or 2.
Yep.
But I haven't felt right in doing it.
Right.
And I've been to counsellors, you know, I've done the whole thing. I've been the person who wanted people to help me, and I've been the person who wants to.
Is there any harm in going to a counsellor?
Well, I didn't find them very helpful in the end.
Well, if they know more truth than you do,
Yeah.
then it would be wonderful,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Isn't that true?
Yeah.
So the proviso of going to a counsellor is, do they know more truth than you do? Right? If they know more truth than you do, then go to them. It can help you.
So this is my question really, is
Yep.
how do I purify my desire?
By
to
knowing more
help?
truth.
By knowing more truth, by being more connected to God.
Yeah, yeah,
By
of
being
course.
truthful to people, just giving people truth
That's right, giving people truth.
and loving them. In
Not hand-holding them through an emotional experience. I don't hand-hold you, and the reason why I don't is because you need to know that you're capable of having your own emotional experience. You don't need me to have it, right? You need truth to have it, but you don't need me to have it, right? You know, of course, you need somebody who's in a brighter state of truth than you are, and if that's me, then you need me. You know what I mean? But only for the sake of the truth, not for the emotion.
Yes.
You follow? Yep. And so this is an important factor that most people don't consider. When I look at the lives of the people who are so-called helping others, frequently they're in a darker state because they have higher addictive demands. And how can a person in a darker state help a person in a lighter state? I had a few months ago, well, a year ago or so now, 3 people rock up here. And 2 of them came because the third person encouraged them to, and the third person was saying, I'm helping these 2 people. I'm saying, no. I said to her directly, no, you're not. You're not. You're creating 2 dependents. You are the darkest person here. Like, you know, as soon as she rocked at my door, I'd never met her before. And I told her she's the darkest person among the 4 of us because she was the person believing she could help the others when she couldn't. Right? You need... And she certainly can't help them by doing all this, you know, hands-on healing kind of things. All you're going to do is get spirit-attached people in the end. And how good is that for your emotional work? Having a few dozen spirits attached to you, how is that going to help you feel your feelings? As Mary knows and other people know, it just harms you feeling your feelings, doesn't it?
Having
David?
spirits.
It's just like,
Terrible.
yeah. And having a person on earth that you're dependent upon is making your life more controlled by that person.
It's insidiously eroding any sense of confidence you have in your own self.
Correct.
And your abilities.
Yeah. And God
More
wants you to know
engaged with that.
you're the pinnacle of His creation, not no, you're in a chain of hierarchy between the person that you're honouring as you call them your teacher, but for the most part, they're not your teacher, they're your emotional need, your emotional crutch, which is different than a teacher. A teacher is just, here's the truth, take it or leave it, let's move on. The emotional crutch is, I need constant engagement with this person, right? I need emotional engagement from this person. I need them to love me. I need them to care for me. I need them to do things for me. I need to talk to them every day. I need, you know, that's not even a friendship or a relationship, right? It's no good for you. Angela?
I read a long-term study on psychiatry and psychology and counselling, all of these modalities, and
Yep.
The result was that none of it has done any good at all.
That's right, because they don't create a feeling in the people going of personal Responsibility.
and ability.
and ability. That's right. Yeah. Now, if they were modified to do so, then they'd be more beneficial. This is what I'm saying. that's what I said to Di, if the person's in a state of more truth, now it's worth happening. If they're willing to give you some counsel, get some counsel. You know, how many times have you come to me, because obviously you believe that I know more truth than you do, otherwise you wouldn't have asked, right? But if you think I do, and I then say, well, let's say I was an abusive person and you thought I did, how bad would that be? If you are not able to personally assess yourself what is an abusive person and what isn't, then how would it be when somebody says, oh, I'm in a state of truth where I can share things with you, and they go, and you go, no worries, I'm going to accept that truth. You're going to just be accepting a bunch more lies, which is just going to harm your life. So you're going to have to be pretty sure they're in a more loving state than you are before you accept anything from them, wouldn't you? Yeah. How do you get sure that someone's in a more loving state? There's only two ways. One is that God informs you directly. The other is you get to know the person and work out whether they are or not. Feel them. And if you're incapable of feeling, then the first thing you're going to have to do is feel before you can do any of those two things, right? Can you see the importance of, like, a lot of times we think we get the principles of divine truth and then engage something completely opposite to it. Thinking we're doing the right thing, thinking we're motivated correctly, and often not the case. And I'm not saying that everybody that I mentioned is even thinks they themselves are motivated correctly, because many of them aren't motivated correctly. But some are motivated, thinking they are motivated correctly, but it is quite clear if they had any connection with me whatsoever, I would tell them directly, you are not motivated correctly. Make sense?
Yeah.
Because a person who's motivated correctly does not believe that that somebody else needs them to feel some things. You don't need me to feel some things. You need truth shared with you. If you can't hear God, then you need to hear someone who's closer to God than you are. That's the only options you have. The Messiah's role isn't to develop a whole heap of needy followers. Messiah's role is to share God's truth with you. To share the truth that he first learnt with you. He was a student just like you need to be. Yeah? Is a student just like you need to be. Yeah? That's why we're all equal, right? Yeah. Of course, some of us are loved more by God than others. That's a different discussion. Because some of us have received more of God's love than others. Yeah. Makes sense? Have another break? We time? Yeah.